when a new direction been set, yes, we look forward to it. Uncle Rex, again, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Yes. First off, how do you feel about this responsibility that has been put on you or placed on you to help us see through to fruition the Blackstar Experience, personally?
I believe that it's, first of all, it's an honor to be put in a place of responsibility. But at the same time, it's a dream come true, because I've spent 35 years of my life fighting for this. I believe that as an artist, in my prime, I decided to, it's a decision I made to sacrifice my career to fight for all. That is why you hear my name with Gamro, with this, with that. Just 3 days ago, we were talking to GRA, they came to Gamro, we were talking to them. I'm preparing myself to leave Gamro, and then they saw, we told them that the directors are not paid. They said, how? I said, our constitution says you can't pay the director. So he asked me, so all this insult, you are not paid in Gamro? I said, no. It's a sacrificial work. I chose to do it.
Have you retired from active music? When I say retired, I mean, do you write music still?
In fact, I'm even writing better songs. Once a musician and a creator, you know, we have different types of musicians.
Yes.
People like me, our talent is rare, because I'm a writer, I'm a producer, I'm an arranger, I'm a performer, a singer, and you can't stop it. It's my nature. So the songs come naturally, and I keep writing them. I have not retired from music. In fact, I will be maybe the first government appointee who will be in the office, and I'll still go to studio to record my songs.
And perform.
Yes.
And perform. So do you have an album coming up? Okay. Sorry, an album?
I'm working on an album. But I want to use my office to create an enabling environment for the youth, to create platforms that we can use to amplify them, so that I don't lose focus, you know. So now I'm doing the music as a hobby. Unlike when I was doing it as a career. And I have more than 20 fully produced songs that I've not released.
Oh, that's great.
And I keep recording them.
You made a decision to put the music on hold and then fight for everybody else. My interest is, as the young man you were at the time, you know, having a good career and then thriving in music, what informed that decision?
I traveled with a group of artists from South Africa, from Spain, from Mali. We were touring, and we got to England, and when we got to the airport, I bought magazines, and I saw this Spanish musician on the front page. Some of the magazines I saw Sibugele Kumalo, South African musician. On the front page I saw, then I didn't see my picture. So I was, and everybody who knows me knows that when I was young, I was very, very hot. And I was angry, so I approached the producers and the event organizers or the tour agents, that how come I'm seeing all these artists and I don't see my picture in any of these magazines? And they say, Rex, it's not our fault. These magazines that you see, when we approach the various embassies of the various artists, their embassies gave us money to push them. We went to your embassy and they say they don't have a budget for any such thing. That hit me like
really hard.
A knife. Secondly, I went to France and I was having an interview on Canal France International, and I asked a question that why is it that in Africa it's only the francophone artists that are heading lines? I mean, they're headline artists, Yusondo, Babama, Angelique Joe, name them, Alpha Blondie, all of them. How come Anglophone artists are not part of it? So I was asking the French government that when they were dividing Africa, I was not part of it. How come they will spend money to promote some African artists at the expense of some? what role did I play in dividing Africa into Anglophone and Francophone, that I should suffer as an artist? As soon as I finished that interview, the French Minister of Culture invited me. So after the meeting, they set up a tour for me. He told me that what I said touched him. So they set up a tour for me. And I was supposed to go to, I think, 25 countries.
Wow.
With my group. And, you know, the French embassy or French government, they have something that they call Francophonie. So every time, the French Alliance Française and the French Culture Centers, they sit down, the heads sit down and they vote which artist goes where. So after my first tour, and before I went to the tour, I came to my own country and I went to the Ministry of Tourism. And I said, look, the French embassy is sponsoring my tour. And I remember then, if you check the accommodation, the air tickets and the per diems and everything, they spent around 600,000 euros on the tour. And I went to my own Ministry of Tourism and I said, look, I've got the opportunity to tour in these 25 countries. What can you do to support me? And then you can give me some stuff that I can use to also promote our country. They told me they can support only one artist. And even that one artist, the support never came until I finished the tour. And that one artist, I had to go to the ministry more than 20 times to get that support. So that is what hit me. The last one was, I went to Switzerland when I was discussing my deal with Sony. And something cropped up. I went to interviews. They took me through interviews over 6-7 radio stations and TV stations. And every station that I went, by the time I leave, they bring you a form, you fill, you sign, and they give you money. Just for coming to the interview, for them to play your songs, because as they're interviewing you, they are playing your song, they are showing your videos. Because I don't belong to their system. If I belong to the system, they would have paid the money through the system. Because I don't belong to the system, they make you sign.
If this were applicable in Ghana, like the number of interviews that
will not happen.
There'll be a queue outside. Yeah. There'll be a queue outside.
They'll pay you right there and there. That is when it hit me that something is completely wrong. And the way our country has relegated the creative economy to the background, no matter how big I become, the greater Ghana and the talent we have.
The system will not allow you to benefit off the work.
Exactly. So I decided that, okay, then I'll sacrifice my career and start advocating and fight so that at least our government's attention somehow one day will come into the creative industry and all that. So that is when I started my serious advocacy, and then advocating here and there, and gradually we are where we are now. So I believe that was the motivation.
That's the motivation. Now,
we don't have much time.
I just want to backtrack on what he said, right? With all of these journeys that you made, and then the decision, and then you now actually fighting the cause of musicians and the music in Ghana, how do you feel now, looking back several years? Is there any sense of fulfillment? Do you think that you've been able to achieve whatever your goal was several years ago?
I believe that I gave voice to Ghanaian artists, because before my advocacy, Ghanaian artists were relegated to the background. Who are you to even speak in public to challenge anything? Because we didn't exist in the minds of
lawmakers.
Yes, I mean policymakers or serious-minded people or the elite in this country, because they refer to us like bam boys and all those kind of stuff, you know. So I think it gave voice to a lot of Ghanaian artists like Shatta Wale's and all these people. Shatta Wale has also taken the line that I told, even though in different ways, you know. And now I think Ghanaian artists are more outspoken, they are more aware, and then they demand what is due them. I think we still have a long way to go, but at least it's better than before. And now you see a lot of creatives being given position in policy making, in governance and stuff like that. So I think it all falls part of it. When I started this journey, I knew I was alone. I was not interested in people's applause. I was not interested in anybody's validation. I was not interested in anybody's approval. I was doing what I thought was right, and I did not care what anybody says. So long as it was right, I didn't care. And now I'm very happy.
Let's talk about the Blackstar Experience. What in itself is the Blackstar Experience?
Blackstar Experience, in short, is rebranding Ghana through culture, arts, and tourism. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
So, the Blackstar Experience serves as Ghana's leading brand in culture, arts, and tourism, and creative engagement, bringing local and international engagement, bringing audiences. It embodies all the interactions linked to the renowned and legendary Ghanaian hospitality across various dimensions. So the Blackstar Experience is a multifaceted policy. You know, so I'll paint a quick picture because we don't have time. If you look at the Ghana flag, you see the red that represents the blood of our ancestors who fought for this land. You see the yellow that represents our natural resources, which is gold and all that, mineral resources. And you see the green that represents our vegetation. And who is the black in the middle of the yellow?
Us.
It is us. You are a black star, I'm a black star. We are all black stars. And we are inviting the whole world to come and experience us. So with the Blackstar Experience, we have 7 pillars. And our 7 pillars is through, it starts with cinema. And we go to music.
Yeah.
And we go to, so we start with cinema, our storytelling, our films, and all that. The second pillar is audio. How do we design the Ghanaian sound? We always talk about high life, high life, high life. We sat down for Nigerians to come and take high life and twist it here and there, and they are calling it Afro beats. And now all of us trying to sing like Nigerians, copying them. They've taken what is ours, and now we are copying them. The third one is our cuisine, our food. You go to you see a lot of sushi bars. What is a sushi bar? A Japanese exported food. People want to go to Chinese restaurants to do what? To eat noodles and rice, Chinese exported food. How are we going to also package our wache, our jollof, kelewele, and all these things so that we can also brand it? How are we going to package our Hausa cocoa so that people can also go to Ghanaian bars and be wanting to eat? It's like our food is the best. And globally, people know. White people that have come here and tasted our food, they go to their countries and they start cooking them. How are we going to package it? How are we going to make sure that the 5-star hotels that come into our country, when you go there and you ask for Ghanaian food, you can get it? I don't want somebody to come and tell me, I'll give you English breakfast. I'm not an English, I'm a Ghanaian. And we have our own breakfast. How can I get that in our 5-star hotels? These are some of the things that Blackstar Experience is about. And then our aesthetics. You know, the people who do sculpture, painting, and all these things, I think it's about time we concentrate and elevate them. Who is stopping us to do exhibitions in New York, in Japan, or Tokyo, or Beijing for our people? Because we have talents. They are everywhere. So it's about time we be intentional about these things. And as we elevate them and amplify what they do, we're amplifying Ghana. It's as simple as that. Then you talk about our fashion. People don't know that in this country, when you talk about the creative economy, fashion is number 1. It's the biggest. And it creates more jobs than any other sector. What have we done to fashion? Nothing, you know. And you talk about our literature, books. Now people are translating literature into films, into video games and all that. What have we done to Amatedu? People talk about Chenua Achebe and all these things. What about ours? Or for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's writings? What have we done to it? You know, so this is the time that we need to be intentional, tell our own stories, because if we don't do that, other people will tell our stories for us in their own way. So it's about time. Then our culture. We have Hogbechocho, Fetua Fashe, Ojira, Abuacher, Damba, Kundum. What have we done to these things? It's about time we amplify them so that it will drive more attention to Ghana. We want Ghana to become the #1 cultural capital. So,
of course, I want to ask you some questions around. Okay, you go ahead before I chip that.
Because it's directly.
We just have about 10 more minutes on.
Directly in line with what you're saying. So from everything that you've outlined, I get that we are looking at cultural preservation and giving it a global appeal. Perfect. So I want to find out from you, what are some of the measures that are being put in place to ensure that, maybe our lesser known cultural practices or stuff that you're mentioning, which otherwise don't have the spotlight, are given that global appeal or are included or captured in that initiative?
So our strategy is amplify and or create. So we're going to amplify the already existing lesser known cultures, just like I was talking about the cultural heritage, the festivals and stuff like that. We're going to work hard to amplify them, and then those that are not in existence, we will create them. So we have earmarked some festivals. And we don't want Blackstar Experience's work to be centered in Accra alone. We want it to spread out all over the country. That is the reason why our next major project is going to be Fashion Week in Tamale. Oh. Can you imagine a fashion week, a whole week of fashion? Drive all designers in Ghana. We have some serious young designers. Let them create a platform for them to exhibit their work. And in doing so, we will also be attracting foreigners to bring their works. And this thing continues first year, second year, third year. In the next 5 years, everybody will travel around the African continent to come to Fashion Week. What would this do to Tamale? It will bring investment, development, hotels will be built so that every year, people know that people are coming there. We have an international airport. So Tamale is one of the fastest developing city in West Africa. So if we send a fashion week there, and everything that we touch is going to be top notch, because Blackstar Experiences how we see ourselves and how we want the world to see us. So our catchy phrase is Blackstar Experience: see Ghana, feel Ghana, and enjoy Ghana. But before somebody sees you, you have to see yourself to start with. It means self-awareness, self-confidence. Before anybody will feel you, you have to feel yourself to start with.
Yeah, and quite. I just want to chip a question in with regards to financing. When we talk sports, even in sports, it's football. We see how the investment in football is physical. You hear of figures, you hear of investments, you hear, all sorts, player incentives. We see, and then based on those things, we see it's a reflection of the attitudes of the players. Hence, we holding them accountable. What is financing like in terms of dedication of the government to our space? Are there any commitments that make it so confident that these initiatives can be done? Because in bringing people to Tamale, for example, would need resources and a lot of it, for it to happen, to fly or transport, various stakeholders to have such an event there. So I want to understand how the financing of such projects are like.
Okay, such projects are not political party campaigns. That you put buses and let people travel to Tamale because there's a fashion week. No. Such projects, we're encouraging fashion designers. We are creating a platform for you to come and exhibit your stuff so that people will know you. Okay. So where the financing is going to come from, creative economy is driven by private capital. And government is the enabler. So the fact that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama says he will be on the catwalk alone will drive people to come to Tamale to want to see the president on the catwalk. These are some of the attractions. Yes, government has promised to invest in these projects. But from where I sit, everybody in this country also know the situation in our country in relation to our economy. So we're going to depend heavily on private capital. When you sit in government office, there are so many ways that you can encourage investment into specific sectors. For example, as I announced at the launch, 100% private investor is coming to set up a Hollywood standard studio, over $200 million. And we are facilitating it. You know, why is somebody coming to do that? Because the president is leading a campaign, and it gives people the freedom and the decision making to decide that, okay, if the president himself wants to do this, or the government himself has making this his flagship project, then why not? You know,
how far are we with that conversation? Because I think we had heard before in previous administrations.
It's gone very far. No, you haven't heard any such thing in any administration.
Oh, I think I heard some time back that who was it that was going to set up an international facility of some sort. It was mentioned.
Who?
I think it was. Who was it?
They mentioned that they were going to have like amphitheaters.
No. I'm not talking about that.
So
I'm saying that a Hollywood standard. I think Idris had mentioned.
Idris Elba
he had mentioned. Hence the reason I'm asking how.
Idris Elba mentioned that during the previous government. Idris Elba has mentioned it again. He came recently to Ghana, met the president and all that. That's a different one.
Oh, this is a different one.
This is a different one. And there's a third one also coming. The whole idea is we want Ghana to be the center of culture. Very soon, Ghana will be the center of filmmaking in Africa. People around the globe will come to Ghana to make films, not Hollywood standard films, because there are going to be incentives that motivates people to come here and make those films. Sometimes filmmaking, they can be in one place for 1 year. They'll sleep in hotels, they'll spend their money, and there's education aspect of this studio, so as to be able to train as many young Ghanaians as possible. So very soon, Ghana will become a hub of filmmaking and creativity. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. You know, so things are not going to change overnight.
Yeah,
but we're starting.
Yeah,
and then so far so good. President Mahama is clear with his vision, and in fact, he suggested a fashion show. If it was left with our office,
Tamale one.
Yes, he suggested, and we said, okay, then let's go and do it in Tamale, because we don't want everything to be centered in Accra. You know, so some of these things. It is all hands on deck.
Yeah.
The media is part of creative economy, and media is the one that amplifies some of these things. So as we go along, that's the reason why we actually did a media engagement before the launch, because we wanted the media to understand what the Blackstar Experience is all about. So it's about time that this is our time. We just embrace the opportunities that's been given us.
In implementing all of these ideas as well, I just also want you to kindly touch on how the Ghanaian creative is going to be also amplified outside of the country, because you mentioned people coming into the country, right? But also for the Ghanaian creatives who have already been working, don't have all of the liberty to get these incentives on their imports that will make their work easier. What is the plan for them as well?
There's a plan in the pipeline. We want to create platforms like create something like Ghana Music Week.
Okay.
And then we'll move it from one country to another.
Okay.
So that it becomes a platform for Ghanaian artists. And we're also working hard. One of the major problems Ghanaian music has is we don't have well-resourced record companies or record labels. We need to have at least one or two well-resourced record labels that has the capital, marketing capital, to be able to promote the artist. Because it's marketing that makes an artist. It is 30% talent, 70% business. If somebody does a single and put $250,000 as a marketing budget, and you sit in Ghana, no matter how good your music is and your marketing budget is 100,000 Ghana cedis, obviously, what are you talking about? You know, so we're looking for a situation where we have 1 or 2, 3 record labels competing and sign not already made artists, but sign a young dynamic artist, bring them up and throw them into the global market. That is what it is. You can sit in Ghana and set up a world tour if you have the resources and the know-how. And we know what to do at the secretariat. So we are going to guide and make sure. I've started a negotiation and discussion in raising the money for these record companies. Government will do its bit, but my focus will be
reliance on government funds.
No. My focus is not reliance on government funds. There's so many grants and soft loans around the globe that we can raise, apply to support these things. And that is why it was important for some of us to be given the opportunity, we the creatives, who are also creative entrepreneurs, to be in the system, to use the government enablement and power to be able to raise funding to do some of these things.
Kojo, please wrap it up.
So,
Rex has to
Rex,
leave.
while talking about this experience, you projected 4 years, 5 years into, and we know that the power dynamics in our country changes every 4 years. And one of the things that has been consistent is that every time there's a change in governance, or every time there's a change in government, things seem to take a different turn because everyone has their own plan. So for me, what I want to understand is that what are the strategies or what are things that you're putting in place to ensure that this experience goes beyond the current administration, well, in terms of like funding and policy continuity.
To add one line to the same space, a lot of people too have expressed a fear or concern about the fact that we've gathered some momentum in the tourism sector over the last 8 years, regardless of political affiliation. Those ventures that have been established and now have a reputation for our tourism sector, what's going to happen with those? Because like you said, when politics changes, things die and things are reborn. Are we going to sustain? Are we integrating? Or moving on to new things?
Okay, so I'll answer these questions in two phases. What happened? It is true that tourism was elevated during the previous government, but they were all events. Year of Return was an event, one-off event, a commemoration of the abolishment of the slave
400-year anniversary.
Yes. So that is why after they did Year of Return, they couldn't continue another Year of Return. So they changed it to Beyond the Return. And even Beyond the Return is also an event. It happens only in December. Blackstar Experience is 365 days way of life. Year of Beyond the Return will be continued. It will be amplified. It will be done even better. But Blackstar Experience is not an event. There are a lot of events under the Blackstar Experience. Blackstar Experience also works with attitudinal change of mindset. You are inviting the whole world to come and experience you. Do you want them to come and experience you, excuse my language, sitting at the beach?
No.
What are you expecting the world to come and experience? We want to put our best foot out there. So it behoves on all of us to shine the black stars that we are. And then to answer your question, most of the projects we are going to do, we are intentionally making sure that it is driven by private capital and managed by private people, so that another government comes, the project is there, it's own, so we are facilitators and coordinators. So if you bring a proposal, if you are the one who brought, say, Fashion Week, we are helping you to make sure that the Fashion Week is produced at that standard that we want the world to see us. If it is sponsorship you are looking for, we will lead you how to get sponsors. But you are the driver of the project. So that the bottom line is to be able to enable a lot of Ghanaians to get jobs and whatever it is. So we don't want to create anything that is too political or that is too government driven. So at the end of the day, this government changes, another government comes, and then it's something else. So most of the things we are going to do, like I'm talking to you about the fully funded private studio. It's a private business, So that is what we're going to do. You're right. That is why President Mahama says that anything good that the previous government did, we should continue. That is why we're going to continue with Beyond the Return. But we've learned this lesson, and whatever we're going to do, creative economy, tourism, whatever, is driven by private capital. So we will want to maintain that.
But how is that going to
Kojo,
be integrated?
I'm so sorry,
integrated into the Blackstar Experience?
Blackstar Experience is a coordination. It's an agency that is helping, for example, oversight. It's an oversight. For example, if I go and then get an angel investor, I say I want to set up a record label. It's not government money. It's an angel investor. So the record label will be set up with private entity to achieve government policy. But then it's driven by private capital. Because if you set up a record label and the record label cannot sustain itself, making profit, it will collapse. Then what have you achieved? Nothing. That is what it is.